Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Warnamont. I am with RSM, and I have Adam Peters on as well with RSM. We will both be presenting on RSM's behalf today. Welcome to the first Indiana BEAD Permitting Roundtable. We will have these periodically throughout the BEAD process. I also have Megan and her team on the call as well as state agencies later in the presentation will be presenting on the slides that they have sent over. I will go ahead and hand things off to Megan to do a quick welcome introduction.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rachel. Hi, everyone. We're excited to get going with BEAD in earnest, and permitting roundtables are one of those BEAD general terms and conditions requirements, but also really just a best practice. So this one will be high level and introductory. As Rachel mentioned, we have some of the other state agencies that you'll be engaging with. And really the purpose of these roundtables is to have a forum for resolution of specific permitting issues, and just making sure that you have connections for who you need to talk to and how to engage with federal, state, local partners all along the way for your BEAD projects. The whole point is to make this process smoother and make it so that we can address issues as they come up. Like I mentioned, this is going to be a more general session, and then as we move along, it will be smaller groups, more targeted agendas as we start working through specific issues. So yes, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey everyone, my name is Adam Peters. I'm permitting lead here at RSM. Talking about just trying to talk about the purpose of the permitting roundtables, just going back off of what Megan was saying. The purpose really is to bring together the subgrantees, our agencies, utilities, and other stakeholders, trying to support timely broadband deployment across the state. This is trying to align with what NTIA's guidance and goals are for these permitting roundtables, which are to promote early coordination, communication, and identify permitting challenges, and doing so early and working collaboratively to resolve issues that are at least resolvable. So we want to reduce avoidable delays, keep BEAD projects moving efficiently, and all while meeting requirements. Like we talked about, this is our first meeting, and you're going to meet some of the agencies and some of the processes that you'll undertake. But in going forward, that is kind of the goal. It's just an opportunity for us to have open dialogue and communication, and hopefully avoid some unnecessary delays. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Hi, I just have a question. I just want to make sure that for the LEO subgrantees, all of the statements that you need to meet the NEPA requirements have been submitted and that we don't have any more permitting issues.
Yeah, well, there's no NEPA requirement for LEO subgrantees, so.
Right, you need to put in that we get an exception. Have you done that process? I just want to make sure because we can't get funded unless that information has been put into the database.
Yeah, so the database hasn't been opened yet, and so we haven't been able to yet.
Okay.
But we'll do that as soon as that is open, which our projection is that will be soon.
And can you send us an email to that effect when that happens for our records?
Sure.
Yeah, we'd be happy to.
Thank you, Megan. Yeah, it's Erica from SpaceX. Thanks.
Yep. We'll take care of that. Thanks, Erica. All right, so before we jump into all of the nitty-gritty updates from RSM and then some of our other partners. Just wanted to go over a couple of brief things from the IBO perspective. Since we have everyone on a single call, just wanted to reiterate, I know I've been sending follow-up emails to folks. Sorry for the many emails in your inbox, but August 15th is our contract signing deadline, and the vast majority of contracts right now are out for signature. So if you haven't responded or have questions about something in your contract, please let us know ASAP so that we can answer those questions or get it addressed and have you sign that contract before our deadline. Feel free to reach out to me directly with whatever you need. And this naturally, falls into this conversation because after contract execution, really no work can begin until we undertake the NEPA process and start addressing permitting. So beyond the pre-approved expenses and activities that can occur in 2 CFR 200, no work really can happen on a project until that NEPA decision memo is received. So as you're signing your contracts, just wanted to make sure that you're following along with all of the other permitting tasks that need to go alongside that, and starting to shift your focus to that, which we'll talk about in great detail in this presentation. And then finally, did just want to remind folks about pole attachment reporting as you may be starting to undertake some of those processes. But according to SB 502, there should be reporting to the IBO when a process management agreement is reached for pole attachments, when actual pole attachment requests are made, and then when those requests are granted. So just wanted to throw out a reminder again, because that is a somewhat new requirement at the IBO level. Back over to you, Adam.
So we have two new exciting features coming to, or that are now in the Indiana Broadband Grant Portal. The first is our milestone schedule. So the milestone schedule is a requirement from NTIA. It's a project management tool. It looks to track your anticipated dates for completing certain environmental historic preservation milestones. Some of that could be, you see the first one there is finalizing the project design. So if that's already completed, you'd put in those dates or when you anticipate to have them done. It looks to track your anticipated completion for the required consultations, like Section 106, Endangered Species Act Section 7, and your NEPA approval, as well as your anticipated construction start date, anticipated construction end date, as well as like submission of relevant local, state, and federal permits. While there's no firm date right now for asking you to complete that, we are asking for it prior to having a one-on-one technical assistance meeting with RSM or submitting your ESAP questionnaire. This gives us, going into that one-on-one technical assistance meeting, a little bit of a better idea about just what your anticipation is for the project. It's available in the compliance section of the portal and should be available for all of your projects now. Again, we know that trying to pick out these dates can be challenging, and that things are going to move around, as things always do. So it's just looking to what these anticipated dates are from your perspective, at least at this moment in time. Next slide. And the other feature that is now available in the Indiana Broadband Grant Portal is the Environmental Screening and Permitting Tracking Tool questionnaire. So this is the questionnaire that we're going to take the responses and documentation from and put them into NTIA's ESAP tool and get the NEPA determination out of. So the questionnaire was replicated and put into the platform that you're already familiar with in the compliance section. The questionnaire asks you a series of questions about the project that seek to identify the categorical exclusions and extraordinary circumstances related to the BEAD project. There will be a questionnaire for each of your NEPA project areas. So if you've split, so for one for each of your BEAD projects, and if you have multiple NEPA areas that you already subdivided with IBO, there will need to be a questionnaire completed for each one of those. We ask that you don't complete the questionnaire until you have or at least feel that you have all the supporting documentation ready for it. Of course, if there's an issue with it, it's easy to reopen it and have edits made. But so what the required documentation is for each ESAPT, it's going to ask for a project summary, and it's going to tell you exactly what it wants out of that summary, detailed description, project map. Some of you have already made your summaries and descriptions, so you'll just use those. Endangered Species Act Section 7 documentation that comes out of IPAC. Section 106 documentation for National Historic Preservation Act, National Wetlands Inventory Map, and you may need a FEMA flood map, depending on the answer to one of the questions. And on the right-hand side here is just a screenshot we took from the first few questions in the portal of just what it would look like. Some of your projects may be ready to complete it in there, but many of them won't be, and we just ask that you don't complete it until you do feel the project is ready for that step. Next slide. And then I'm just going to talk a little bit about, in case you haven't met with RSM, you don't know what our role is in all this. This slide just highlights the role that RSM is playing in supporting IBO through the EHP process with the BEAD program. So our goal was really just to help establish consistent processes with everyone, provide technical assistance to subgrantees, coordinate with reviewing agencies as needed, and ensuring the information needed for ESAPT and other reviews is complete and submitted correctly. We're doing that through activities like having one-on-one technical assistance meetings and having these permitting roundtables. We're hoping our clash detection analysis and some other tools can help identify potential issues early, and we can help improve coordination among stakeholders and ultimately just help make this process efficient while staying compliant with all of NTIA's requirements. Next slide. So a little bit just very general what's next, and this is going to vary depending on where your projects are in the process, but over the next, as you submit GIS data for us, so we understand your routes, we'll be conducting a clash analysis, looking to see where those routes intersect with federal and state properties, and we'll have a one-on-one technical assistance meeting. We also ask that you complete the EHP milestone schedule going into that, which, as I said, is available now in the Indiana Broadband Grant Portal. The ESAPT questionnaire, again, is now available in the Indiana Broadband Grant Portal for your completion, and RSM will be reviewing all submitted questionnaires and EHP milestone schedules and all that supporting documentation, working with you on any edits that are needed up to that point, and actually creating those entries and submissions in NTIA's ESAP system on behalf of IBO and submitting those for NEPA approval. Out of that, we'll get a NEPA decision memo. And if we get that NEPA decision memo that approves us, that'll ultimately be the golden ticket for being able to start construction, at least from a NEPA perspective. Next slide.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks, Megan. Next, we're going to get into the partner agency slides. So if you are a partner agency and you sent us over a slide, we're just asking that you give a brief explanation of your agency slide and any other information that you would like to include on the presentation. So first up, we have the Indiana Cable and Broadband Association, followed by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. So.
I'm Joseph Dant, the Executive Director of the Indiana Cable and Broadband Association. We have several members who are participating in the BEAD program, and so we are simply helping to facilitate their interactions and support them as they navigate the process and support the broadband office as well with any assistance that they may need from our members working through things.
Thank you, Joseph. Next, we have the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, followed by DNR.
Hi, this is Luke Wilson, the Chief Policy Officer for the Energy and Natural Resources Vertical. Just wanted to share 2 points of contact for the IURC, one being specific with the Telecommunications Division or Communication Services Division with Sally Getz. The IURC is the entity that sort of permits statewide certificates of territorial authority for any broadband provider who wants to provide service in the state. It's more of a ministerial application permit. It's pretty quick, but does need to be done. So Sally's your contact person for that. And then as you install or put down underground facilities, make sure you follow Indiana's call before you did law. And then Miranda Chandler is our director of Pipeline Safety Division. Her and her team are incredibly responsive to issues, can help possibly provide some advice if you call her in advance, or otherwise you can work through the Underground Plant Protection Agency or Indiana 811, excuse me, on any issues you come up. But just wanted to provide those 2 points of contact with the IURC for broadband providers in the state.
Thank you, Luke.
And then on the OED front, mainly more on the electrical division side of things, should you have issues running broadband across utility poles, we're happy to reach out to electric utilities on your behalf, try to make connections, use our convening power to help make utilities be more responsive to some requests or to timing issues. So feel free to reach out to myself or John Ford, our executive director, should you have concerns with that.
Thank you. Next, we have the Department of Natural Resources.
Yeah, so apparently I gave you guys a typo in my name. Matt Buffington, I'm the Environmental Unit Supervisor for DNR and the Division of Fish and Wildlife Nature Preserves. We do environmental reviews and permit reviews. There's my contact info. The next slide has a little bit more of how we might get involved. We work real closely with our Division of Water, and I know they have a slide as well. So if there's impacts that are in there, disturbance in floodways or public freshwater lakes, it'll be DNR permits potentially. And if there are environmental issues, it'd be my team that deal with that sort of stuff.
Hi, I'm Beth McCord with the Division of Historic Preservation and Archaeology. We serve as the staff for the State Historic Preservation Officer, and we'll be reviewing your documents for Section 106 compliance, which would include most likely this program comment that NTIA has set up. On the phone also is our Assistant Director for Environmental Review, Chad Slider. He would be your main point of contact if you have any questions about submitting your documentation. There's also information available on our website about exactly what needs to be submitted to our office, along with a review request submittal form that will get you moving through our office.
Thanks, Beth.
Hi, I'm Marquita Shepherdson. I'm in the Technical Services section with Division of Water. If the projects do require a permit from DNR, it would come through the Division of Water, and then we would route out to the various divisions like MATS and possibly Historic Preservation if needed for that part of the review. We would only have jurisdiction over the floodway for utility lines and then possibly a lake, but there's some links there that would give you whether or not you need a permit from Division of Water and whether or not the project would be in the floodway. We do also have a general license that's out there for utility lines. If certain environmental and technical criteria can be met for that utility line, it would not need to go through the permit process for Division of Water. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Indiana Department of Transportation.
And Rachel, I'm just going to step in and say something really quick here about Section 106 as well. Sorry to interrupt. For Section 106 as well, if you have those documents prepared, definitely submit those to the IBO and RSM first. We're undertaking a review process to make sure that the appropriate documents are there and that there's sufficiency before we submit that to DNR. So just working together to make sure that the load is lighter for everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nope, you got it. Go ahead.
All right. My name's Andy Brelliger. I'm the Assistant Director for Broadband Corridors with the Department of Transportation. And kind of what our role entails, if you guys, part of your program or project involves crossing or impacting a state road, U.S. highway, or interstate, that would require an additional permit through the Department of Transportation for making that crossing. So we really, our role is part of administering and reviewing all those permits within our EPS program. And permits that are BEAD projects, we have those flagged as well. We also ensure bonding for compliance, and obviously there's a lot of different types of compliance and things that we're looking for. Feedback, timely feedback, processing updates. And then we also categorize our permits by two different sections, the corridor and non-corridor. So the only difference between these is what's listed below in terms of the routes. So corridors are all interstates, US 30 and 31. The big difference is anything that's within a broadband corridor requires a broadband agreement prior to getting your permit issued. And those are done by our district permit managers or permit teams issue the permits. And then non-broadband corridors, which I think a bulk of most of the things are all US highways and all state routes. And those are processed by the districts. And then the last slide. And then I just put some useful links and some contacts where you can find additional information in terms of our permits process.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
All right. Now we have it open for any questions.
Hey, Megan, this is Randy Brown with IDEM.
Hey there, Andy.
Hi, we didn't get a slide in, but we could just give a quick overview of stormwater and wetlands permits.
That would be fantastic. That'd be awesome.
Okay, so Randy Braun, I'm the Stormwater Section Chief with IDEM. These projects will more than likely require a stormwater general permit for construction activities, which includes any kind of project that would disturb 1 acre or more of land. So that permit requires a stormwater pollution prevention plan be developed early in the process, submitted to IDEM. Or if you're in a jurisdiction where we've delegated authority, you may have to submit it locally. But for the most part, after talking to Megan and some others early on, it looks like most of the plans will go through IDEM. And once the plans are reviewed and deemed to meet the requirements of our construction stormwater general permit, then you would submit an application. And we have our process is all online now. So it wouldn't require any paper to be submitted. It would be submitted through our portal. But that's a general overview. Purpose of that permit is to minimize any kind of offsite sediment discharges or discharges associated with any other kind of activities that would occur on that construction project. So in general, that's what we would require for a permit, and we can provide, I'll get with Megan and whoever, and we'll provide some additional information on our website. And then also I have representing our waterways program. They regulate wetlands. Emerson Harriman. So I'll let her talk a little bit about wetlands and IDEM permitting.
Hi, my name is Emerson. I'm a waterways project manager. So my program does Section 401 water quality certifications and isolated wetland permits. So we regulate impacts to surface water. So wetlands, streams, lakes. If the project is going to impact any of those, it's good to check with us to make sure whether or not you need a permit. We use the exact same permitting portal that our stormwater section uses. So you can do your applications for them and us both through there.
Thank you, Randy and Emerson. Next, we will open it up for questions. If you just want to raise your hand, I will call you and then call on you and you can ask your question and we'll answer it.
I'm looking in the chat to see if we have anything to answer. I just responded to Sylvia, who asked a good question about reiterating when we need milestone schedules by. We don't, so we didn't give a firm date. There's not a firm date, but seeing as it is an NTIA requirement and they have asked us to make sure we get those, we do ask you to complete it as soon as is reasonable for you, and certainly at least before. If you request a one-on-one technical assistance meeting with RSM, we definitely want you to have that before the meeting and certainly before submitting an ESAP questionnaire. And
Tim?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Andrew, you had mentioned on the DOT permitting that you guys will be identifying BEAD. Is that because of how the ISPs are going to submit, or do you guys have some systematic way to identify what's likely BEAD related?
In our permit system, as you're applying for a broadband permit, there is a radial button that you would check. That would indicate that it's part of the BEAD project.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim, also just wanted to offer further clarification and info that we've also been in contact with, NDOT much more prior to this. So have shared where BEAD projects are and, have already been using GIS tools kind of shared to identify where there's overlap for each of these projects and clashes and where permits might be needed. So that's already something that's underway with RSM as well.
Awesome. So a little bit of magic and make sure that we got our people clicking that button to make it easy for DOT.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, well, if there are no other questions, we want to thank you very much for joining our roundtable today and hope everyone has a great day.